Today I'm joined by Dr. Leslie Love, who is the Lori Lokay Chair in Education and Professor and Department Head of Counseling Psychology in Human Services. Leslie's research really focuses on prevention science and child and adolescent development, also gene-environment interplay, and she's focused on prevention and intervention for children, families, and communities. And I'm delighted that you're here with us today, Leslie.
Thank you for inviting me to coffee.
Leslie, your work focused on young women and girls is really powerful and multifaceted. And I'm wondering if you could talk to us about what brought you into this work and why you're drawn to supporting women and girls.
It's been a long-standing priority and interest of mine for really close to 25 years now. Started when I was a graduate student. Service providers, communities were really faced with how do we serve and best treat girls and women who are entering our systems. Kind of drawing from that, well, what does the science tell us? What does the research tell us? And that's where my interests really were piqued, because it became clear there wasn't a large body of evidence, so we needed to do more to figure this question out.
You published a paper last year that focused on girls that entered the juvenile justice system when they were teens. And this was published in Frontiers of Psychology. And in this paper, you followed them over 2 decades. First when they were teens, through their 20s, and then through their 30s. I'm wondering if you could share a little bit about what you found.
So this was a project that started in the 2000s, early 2000s, and was a partnership with Oregon Social Learning Center and Patty Chamberlain, a scientist there. We together recruited a sample of 166 young women, girls who were in the juvenile justice system in Oregon, and they were there for severe and chronic delinquency. So on average, they had about 12 prior arrests. They'd been in out-of-home care on average 3 times, very high rates of maltreatment, trauma, and current substance use. And half of those were enrolled into Patty Chamberlain's Treatment Foster Care Oregon intervention, and half received the services that the state provides as usual for people being referred for out-of-home care for challenges with delinquency.
So when you think about the long-term impacts of an intervention like that, what did you find in your research?
We first see some short-term outcomes. So just following them for the first year or 2, we see significant differences, improvements in the girls who received the Treatment Foster Care Oregon approach in terms of having fewer arrests, spending fewer times in detention, fewer number of days in detention, affiliating or hanging around friends and peers that are more pro-social and positive, and even outcomes like having fewer teen pregnancies in that first 2-year period. And then when we follow them into young adulthood, those trends, those differences continue. So we see the same tendency for fewer arrests even as adults. And interestingly, I think we really find that it is something about those teen arrests that are kind of driving or predicting the adult arrest outcome. So we still see those differences sustaining in young adulthood, in part because of the positive effects we see in those first 1 to 2 years in adolescence.
So you're sitting on so much great information from decades and decades of research. What advice do you have for parents based on your research?
I think what we know is that the family matters, parents matter. So things like having a consistent environment, consistent rules and expectations for your teens, the importance of supervision and sort of knowing the whereabouts of a young person in your family is really critical. But we also know that it's, parents matter, but also other caring adults and mentorship figures in a person's life matter. So some children may be in situations where it is hard to have that connection to your parents, but maybe there's someone else, a neighbor, an extended family member, a person in a church or other community that can be that support, a teacher for you, and that's what really makes a difference.
Leslie, what's next for you with your program of research?
Well, we're really excited together with my colleague Maria Schwer-Collins at Iowa State. We have an opportunity to follow these women who are now in their 30s and 40s, to follow them as parents as they are parenting teenagers. Really neat opportunity to look at these intergenerational patterns, how we can disrupt intergenerational patterns that are not as healthy, and the factors that predict kind of these breaking the cycle of maltreatment, trauma, and juvenile justice involvement.
Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in to Coffee and Conversation, where I've been joined by Dr. Leslie Love.